Hey folks, Ray Gano here. Listen, I wanted to do another quick driving video here. Excuse the shaking and everything, because this time I'm actually driving. I wanted to talk to you about something that is near and dear to me. I really enjoy studying the armor of God, and it upsets me when I see people out on Facebook and such, and they're talking about, oh, you know, I'm just going to throw on the armor of God and I'm just going to go out and kick the enemy's tail and all this other stuff. And I can't believe the naivety of or just basically the ignorance of the person, you know, posting or talking and everything. And you can just tell that they have absolutely no experience in what they're talking about. I want to tell you a story, and I know some of you probably heard me tell this story before, but in my college days, I belonged to a group called the Society for Creative Anachronism. Basically what it is they go out and, you know, don armor and then beat themselves silly with rattan swords and stuff like that. A lot of fun. They basically do not really reenactment, but put themselves back in, say, the King Arthur days, the Knights of the Round Table and so forth. And there's people that are pretty serious about this stuff, to the point where, I mean, they make full plate armor from head to toe, and they get out there and they just battle it out. It's pretty amazing to watch and see, and I highly encourage it. You probably see it at like Renaissance festivals. A lot of the guys at the Renaissance festivals, when they're fighting in full armor and stuff. Well, anyways, one time I was attending one of the tournaments, and I just happened to strike up a conversation with this guy, and he invited me. He's like, well, hey dude, why don't you just, you know, come hang out with me this weekend and kind of play my squire. I was like, cool, okay. I didn't really know who the guy was, and we just kind of hit it off. Well, anyways, come to find out that this guy has been a king and a prince and all that in the hierarchy of the Society for Creative Anachronism, SCCA. And so he was pretty well known and everything, and here I am, a nobody. And again, we just struck it up. Well, anyways, I watched this guy fight, and I was helping him at the tournaments, and, you know, giving him water when he was out there fighting, and, you know, holding his shield and his stuff, and doing whatever I needed to do, and you know, just helping the guy out, and just being a good help, a good squire, and everything. And we were sitting there at his tent having lunch and everything. I helped him take his armor off and stuff, and we were having lunch and we were talking, and, you know, I kept, well, how is it like to fight in this armor? And it sure does look like it's a lot, and, you know, this, that, and the other. And he finally says, hey, listen, you want to try it on? And I says, yeah, sure, I'll try on the armor. So he got me on the pads and so forth and strapped me into the armor. And folks, I have got to tell you that this is something, and this is why I kind of have a hang-up with people who say just throw on the armor of God, because they don't know what they're talking about. I put on this armor, and it probably was a good extra 50 pounds all over my body, because again, this is full plate armor, head to toe, you know, complete helmet, everything. And then he gave me his sword, and he gave me his shield. And I kid you not, he kind of came along and go bink, and I just about fell over. Why? Because my body was not used to wearing this armor. Again, this is like 50 pounds of extra plate steel hanging off of my body, and here I watch him go out on the battlefield. He's running and jumping and just doing all kinds of stuff, just kicking the tail out of everybody. And yet, I was lucky just to stand. And it really, God really impressed upon me a lesson here. And this is why I say a lot of these people who talk about, oh, just put on the armor of God, they don't know what they're talking about. And so I asked him, and I was like, dude, how is it that you're able to go out there and just run all over the place and jump and do all this stuff and just wipe everybody out, basically win the battles all the time? And he says, well, it's because I wear it all the time. And his profession actually is a professional armorer. He's a medieval armorer, and he's even done work for the Queen and the Tower, repairing their armor and stuff. So he's known all over the world in the armor circles. But he was telling me that, where he lives, the people know what he does. And so it's nothing for them to see him running around in his breastplate or running around in his leggings and everything like that. They're used to it. But he wears his armor daily. And so his body gets used to it. And because his body is used to it, it becomes almost like a second piece of skin to where his body doesn't even recognize it anymore. And it's no problem for him to run around and jump and attack and defend and all that stuff in his armor. So what I'm trying to say here is that people who talk about wearing the armor of God, I'm just going to don the armor of God and go out and fight the battle. No, you're not. Because what you're going to do is you're going to be battlefield fodder, basically. Because unless you wear the armor daily, unless you train in it daily, unless your muscles start getting used to wearing the armor, you're basically, shooting yourself in the foot. And I'm not saying don't get out in the battlefield. Yes, get out in the battlefield, but you need to train daily. There's a verse in Ephesians talks about it. Again, this is right paraphrased. Put on the armor of God so that you're ready for that evil day. And it says, and having done all, to stand. That having done all part is something that's a lot of people tend to skim over and not really pay attention. That having done all part is learning to wear your armor daily, learning how to work in it and attack in it and defend in it and so forth. And so unless you're truly wearing that armor daily, if you get out on that battlefield, you're basically going to be, fodder for the enemy. And if you've never worn the armor at all and you think that you're going to get out there, you're going to be like me when I first donned that real armor and that guy just came up, bink, and I just about fell over because my body was not used to it. Your muscles need to get used to wearing the armor. Your muscles need to be trained and so forth. The shield of faith, if you're not practicing that faith, if you're not acting in that faith, your shield is going to be useless because you're not used to wearing it. If you're not wielding that sword daily and practicing with that sword daily, then when that time comes, it's going to be useless. If you're not practicing and wearing that breastplate of salvation, it's going to be useless because you're not practicing using these pieces of armor. And so it's really interesting how this little lesson that God allowed me to learn has truly impacted my life for pretty much almost all my life. And I've learned to wear the armor of God. Now, does it mean that we're perfect? No. Does it mean that we don't fail? No. We do fail. We do lose battles, but that's how you learn to fight. It's getting out on that battlefield and getting some war wounds and getting knocked down and getting, your tail kicked. But after a while wearing the armor and getting into the battlefield, you're going to start seeing that you're winning some of the battles and that you're doing pretty good. And again, it's part of the whole battle analogy. You got to get out there, you got to don the armor, and you got to do it daily. So it's just something to think about, something that I wanted to talk about to you really quickly so that, get out there. I'm encouraging people to get out and start pushing back. We need to start doing that. We need to start drawing the line in the sand again. We as Christians have been given a chance here with this election of Donald Trump, and there's a lot of Christians that he's bringing on to his board and his team. So this is encouraging to me. This is one of the reasons that I believe God is bringing us back, is to get into that battle and teach others to get into the battle and, start learning how to truly wear the armor of God. So that's it. That's all. Just wanted to give that little piece right there. Thanks for the time. Do me a favor, leave some comments down there, subscribe to my channel, and share it with other people, please. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.